Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
What is going on, guys? How you guys all doing again? Once again, this late Sunday evening, this is the Club of the Man 1993. Make sure I let that play all the way through. I didn't do that in my Raw review. But we are here for my review of this past week's edition of Friday Night SmackDown. The September 6th, almost in November. Not November yet. November's on my mind, no, because that's when my son's coming. But this is my review from the September 6th, 2024 edition of SmackDown, and it took place in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. This was also the final episode of SmackDown on Fox, as it's coming Friday, September 13th, Friday the 13th. SmackDown will return back to USA, and we'll see, of course, how it goes once it goes back to USA. Maybe improvement in the quality of the show, because I keep saying this, SmackDown's not really been that fun. I haven't really been that excited for SmackDown in a long time. I mean, probably the last time I was excited for SmackDown a lot was the first SmackDown when Roman Reigns came back. And then 2 weeks in a row, he basically did the same exact thing he did at SummerSlam, and he's been gone since. I get it. Slow build. Part of the storyline. Just thought they could have given us just a little bit more. Just a wee bit more. If that. But yeah, we're going to talk about this episode of SmackDown. It was hard for me to grade this episode, because when I look back at the results, I didn't really hate a lot of things that was on this show. I felt like they did some progression in storytelling. Other than that, though, it's just like, again, something's just missing from SmackDown. Something's missing with that big, pop, like that big boom, to make it be as hot as Raw is right now. It just felt like I feel like I gave the grade a lower than I should, but I just look at it, I'm like, okay, this was good. This was good. Could have been better. I don't know. I just still feel like I'm looking for an excuse to not hold this show as high as I feel I should. But again, it's not one of those shows that left me going, let's go. I was like, okay, that was that pretty much. I don't know if it's because I was tired on Friday night or what, but like I said, I just saw the show and I was just like, typical. I just didn't really find it that interesting. But there were some things I still liked about it. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about and roll from there. The show opened up with, of course, Cody Rhodes arriving. And he does his usual intro. He observes the humongous size of the crowd. And he also welcomes back Michael Cole to SmackDown. But after he does that, because Michael Cole's back on SmackDown now until January when Raw moves to Netflix. But first, though, also order business is he wants to address the Bloodline. So he asks them to come out here. Out comes the Bloodline with Sikoa in front. Gets in the ring. He's like, Cody, you done playing around and running his mouth? And he says, I could have beaten you at SummerSlam if it wasn't for Roman. And he claims he deserves another shot. Cody says that there should be a title defense on next week's season premiere. I hate when they call it the season premiere of Raw, when it's in the fall, in the middle of the year, after a B pay-per-view. I never get that. I mean, yes, of course, it's a new, but even like for Raw next week, it's the season premiere. I'm just like, but Raw is not, shouldn't the season premiere be whenever? I don't know. Technically also, shouldn't the season be starting also after WrestleMania? Because WrestleMania is like the grand finale, the Super Bowl. I don't know. What do I know? Anyways, he deserves a rematch, and it'll happen next week. And you, at this point though, he drowns out because the crowd's chanting, "We want Roman." Cody says, "You, the formidable athlete, the effective and unhinged, truthfully the number one contender in Rhodes' book. He deserves a title shot. But he's not talking to Solo. He's talking to Jacob Fatu." Which, recently, we all remember, Solo took the tag title off of him and put it on Tonga Loa, who again, I'm sure was supposed to get it first, and says that he has been promoted from tag champ to enforcer, to Solo's enforcer. Basically his right-hand man. So, Cody, though, asks the Samoan Werewolf to step up. And I love this because Jacob went to step up, but then Solo gave him this look like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Which Jacob realizes, takes the message, and pledges his loyalty to Sol Sikoa and steps back. I like that they did this. Like I said, I don't know what the plan is going forward, because I'm hearing a lot of rumors, but you continue to hear this thing, how people, and I could see it being true, people are more invested in Jacob Fatu than Sol Sikoa. And I honestly kind of feel the same way too. I feel like Jacob Fatu, maybe because he's fresh, I don't know, is literally has the look to be a world champion, a main eventer, and he already feels like he's just more dominant than Solo. And again, because I just feel Solo just needed to have some more dominant wins again, such as his win at John Cena Crown Jewel last year. So he hasn't been the same since. Again, character-wise, he's improved way off the chart. In-ring wise, he's digressed. But again, I love that they kind of like toyed with us a little there. As in, like, you know, they realize what we're saying, as could eventually we see a split with Jacob Fatu and Sol Sikoa, because the crowd is more behind Jacob than Solo. But anyways, Fatu steps back. And Cody says it was worth the shot. And he's crazy to wrestle, and he wanted them. But Sol believes it, doesn't he? Every second, every minute, every hour, he does get better. And he wears the garland, which means the bloodline revolves around him. But the undisputed WWE Championship means WWE revolves around Cody Rhodes. And maybe one day Cody will look at the lights, thank to that orange thumb, but he sure as hell won't be next week. Sol then accuses him of trying to get Jacob to turn on him and accepts the title match. But it's like, you know what though? We don't have to wait. Snaps his fingers, the bloodline come up and stand side by side with the new tribal chief until they get one up because Cody brings them back up in the Street Profits and DIY. They come out of nowhere to back up Cody. Nick Aldis though gets in the ring and stops it from happening. And he sets up, not only does he set up in the main event, it'll be an 8-man tag match. The Bloodline versus the Street Profits and DIY who are teamed up together. And he also announces that next week on the season premiere of SmackDown, it will be Sol Sikoa, Cody Rhodes for the undisputed title in a steel cage match. Which I'm very interested to see how that goes. One or two things is going to happen, I feel like, for that steel cage match. Either that's when Kevin Owens turns heel, although Kevin Owens is going to be involved in a tag match next week. We'll talk about that in a second. Frustrating because he's facing the same people he's been fighting for how many years, how many weeks in a row, and it's driving me nuts. And he has a mystery partner, which we all know for next week. And we all know it's going to be Randy Orton. But will Kevin turn in that match? I don't know. We'll see. But that's going to happen. Or Roman does come back and cost Solo the match again. One of the two is happening. Or both. Who knows? I don't think neither's going to happen. I think one of them's going to happen. But, so we have that. We have Pretty Deadly hanging out with TIffany Stratton again backstage. Don't know why. Nia Jax rolls up and Pretty Deadly run away like you're scaredy cats. And Nia's like, it's crazy. Everybody thought that Tiffany was going to cash in on her last week. And Tiffany's like, no. I swear I would never turn on you. She's also tired of Chelsea Green spreading lies about her, which I'm confused as to why they're having two spoiled heels, like spoiled characters and heels, getting ready to feud each other. I don't know where that's going. But anyways, Nia tells her tonight that Tiffany has a match against Bayley. And because Bayley made her first appearance in SummerSlam on a go-home show of SmackDown for Bash in Berlin. But she tells Tiffany that she'll come out in her corner tonight and help her just like Tiffany did last week. Now we had the match with Bayley and Tiffany. Match was good. Nia, though, does come out off a referee distraction, though. It unfortunately backfired and cost Tiffany the match, as Bayley won with the Rhodes plan. Match was still good. Of course, I still kind of wish now that Bayley's a face again, can she go back to just something else besides the Rhodes plan? Because that's still kind of like a very basic move and kind of heelish though too. I don't know. But she wins there. Oh yeah, and then Kevin Owens was backstage and guess who he runs into, as always, A-Town Down Under. And like, great, Kevin Owens is going to be fighting them again for the millionth time. They're talking about how Owens didn't prove himself against Cody, mocks him for not helping with the Bloodline earlier, how he claims that there's drama between them, and KO's like, yo, you're idiots. Not just that, you're also morons. He and Cody are fine, just like they are. Ed's he teasing the split between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. And he goes, since he had to fight his friend at Bash in Berlin, that those two should fight as well. So he sets up for a triple threat match later in the show, which it was basically just like a 2-on-1 handicap match. Owens was able to get the win. There was this thing where they kind of fired up Owens towards the end, saying, you want the old KO, you want the old KO. And Owens eventually wins by hitting a stunner on Austin Theory. Afterwards, Grayson Waller gets back in there and they try to attack 2-on-1. And they were able to overpower him. I don't know what the point of that was, really. I didn't care. Like I said, I am so sick of Kevin Owens fighting the Bloodline. I'm sorry. I'm more sick of him fighting Austin Theory and Grayson Waller all the freaking time. I'm okay with him fighting the Bloodline, even though that's gotten a little old too, but I don't get why all he can do on SmackDown Weekly is fight Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. It drives me nuts, but that happened. I also don't know how I feel about this yet. So, we have had vignettes for a few weeks. Well, I'm sorry. First, before we get to that, we had a backstage also with the Legado del Fantasma hanging out, celebrating their victory over Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin. And not to be shocked by success, because the victory is who they are, and they don't just find success, they make it. So where they're going next, I don't know. Hopefully they get out of the low card act, though, as I would hope so to happen. But yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. Apollo Crews had a match against the re-debuting Giovanni Vinci. And based off the vignettes he's gotten the past couple weeks, it looks like they're going back to the gimmick they were going to give him in NXT before he got called up with Imperium. I don't know how I feel about the match, because the match didn't happen. Giovanni came out And he was wearing shades, he was wearing sweats and a hoodie, basically just gloating. And then as soon as the bell rang, Apollo Crews did just roll up crucifix pin, and that's the match. And I was like, eh? So I don't know if they're kind of going for like spoiled rich boy who just got hit with reality or something like that, how it doesn't come as easy to him as he wants. I don't know where this is going. I heard apparently executives were not happy, or some higher-ups were not happy with how this went. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about... Because it's kind of like he's similar to Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green can get over in a loss. She can, of course, like... Because she's just that good. Like, her character makes up for her wrestling. Not saying she's a bad wrestler, but again, even like the character she wants to play, she basically wanted to play like the last diva. Which is why someone like her, it's okay for her to lose. I don't know how I feel about the kind of doing that with Giovanni Vinci, though. It's something I gotta see more of. So yeah, it was weird. Kind of caught me off guard. We'll see where this goes, though. Speaking of Chelsea Green, Nick Aldis made a match between her and Mia Yim later on in the show. That's when we had the triple threat with KO on A-Town Down Under. We also got a hype reel of the series of matches between Andrade El Idolo, or just Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. We'll talk about them in a second. We also have Michael Cole doing like a recap of the 5-year history of SmackDown on Fox. Wasn't that great of a time, to be honest, but you know, whatever. I'm interested to see how it is when we move to USA. Move back to USA, of course, because it was not a great run on Fox. It really wasn't. But anyways, after that, we have LA Knight come out for a segment. He does kind of brag how he's only been champ for 30 days, and he already has as many title defenses, just almost as many title defenses as Logan Paul did during his 9-month reign as champion. Carmelo Hayes comes out, who scoffs about LA Knight bragging about his 2 title defenses, and says he should be bragging about putting SmackDown on his back the last couple weeks. And what has Knight been doing? Running his mouth when he should be checking the scoreboard. How Carmelo Hayes has put up 2 straight wins on Andrade. And he thinks that gives him a shot for the U.S. title. Then out comes Andrade, who speaks on the stage and tells Carmelo Hayes, take it easy. He knows Hayes has beat him twice, but Andrade also beat him twice. Hayes says, nobody remembers that. But Andrade says, oh, he remembers it. And so does the crowd. And so, does he really think he deserves a U.S. title shot? Carmelo says he deserves it more than Andrade. LA Knight says, I'm too busy for them to have a little tiff out here. They're 2-2. Whatever. If you want to fight over who drops on his head next, that's fine. Andrade says, that title was once mine. And Knight goes, yeah, it was. Was the key word. But then Andrade talks down in Spanish. I don't know what he said. But LA Knight says he doesn't understand, but he demands Andrade to check his tone. Andrade then pokes him. Carmelo gets involved, shoves Andrade into LA Knight. LA Knight comes back, and I think he sends them both packing with BFTs. So, they advertised that next week on SmackDown, they will have match number 5 between Andrade and Carmelo. I don't know how I feel about that. Based off that segment, it looks like they're going to a triple threat at that year Bad Blood or an upcoming episode of SmackDown. I still think that they have to put Andrade and Carmelo one-on-one on pay-per-view first. And I think the ideal match with 2 of them, since they're trading wins back and forth, I think they need to do an Iron Man match. They would have an incredible showing with a 30-minute Iron Man match. That is the first of the 2 SmackDown matches I'm putting on my Bad Blood card, which will be uploaded after this and my Raw reviews are uploaded tonight. So I think that would be more so what I would prefer for them to do, but we'll see what happens next week. I'm pretty sure like maybe LA Knight will get involved in the match or something and set up that triple threat possibly, because that's where it seemed they're actually going tonight, which would be good, but come on, give me Carmelo and Andrade in an Iron Man match. That would be freaking cool. But we have that. Chelsea Green then beats Mia Yim with the I'm Pretty Her. Okay, that was that. And then in the main event, we had a fun main event with the Bloodline, which was Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa, and they took on the Street Profits, the Street Profits of Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, and then Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Was a fun back and forth match, and the heels win. The Bloodline win and stand tall. I believe Montez Ford was the one who took the remainder of the beating and took the pin. But of course, Solo wanted to be tagged in and finish off the job. Kind of like what they're doing with Christian Cage, the Patriarchy, where it looks like that Solo's protecting himself and making him still the golden man and having him be the one to take all the credit for everything. Again, they are definitely starting to tease some tension between Solo and Jacob, but we'll see where it goes. And that was SmackDown. Again, not much really happened. I gave it a C+. I almost gave it a B-. But there's some things, again, that I still just don't quite understand. Again, I didn't like the fact that they did just randomly, again, for the millionth time, that Kevin Owens taking on A-Town Down Under. Drives me nuts. Like, can we just move on from that already? A few other things as well. But, again, there were some good things. Again, I do like the little tease there with trying to drive a wedge between Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. A couple other things as well, but overall, it was a decent show. Gave it a C+. C+ for SmackDown this week. What are your guys' thoughts on the final SmackDown on Fox? Look forward to seeing what SmackDown presents to us next Friday when it gets moved to the USA Network. Leave your guys. It goes back to the USA Network. Leave your guys' thoughts down in the comments section below. And be sure also to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content to come on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well at the Club of the Man 93. You may also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you all later. Do not forget to check out my Bad Blood printed match card, which I'm going to be uploading after I upload this. And I'll catch you guys all later. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!